Today is World Book Day, an annual charity event that began in 1995 and is celebrated in the UK and Ireland on the first Thursday in March. Now, on World Book Day, every child in full-time education is given a voucher to spend on whatever book they want, with the hopes of encouraging kids to read more. Now, with a continued commitment to promote reading for pleasure and offer every child a book of their own, the charity has a particular focus on reaching children from disadvantaged backgrounds, and its theme for this year is You Are a Reader. We have with us in the studio the former president, Association of Nigerian Authors, Denja Abdullahi, to help look at the dying culture of reading in Nigeria. And he will join us on the program with the editor, Teen Trust, Taiwo Adeni. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
We're glad to have you on the program.
Thank you so much.
So now, could you talk to us, about the reading culture in Nigeria? Would you say it's on a decline, or people are getting to read more?
Well, I will not say the reading culture is on a decline, because the world has so much advanced, and reading is being done on several platforms. I believe that we're actually reading more than we do before, because of so many limitless possibilities in terms of the cyberspace that gives you a window to several formats of reading. And in terms of even the increasing population of people, and in terms of increasing number of writers and texts that are all over the place, what I would say is not really happening is our attention span has greatly dwindled because of the same technological intrusion, the obstruction of technology. Now it is very difficult for somebody to just pick a book and spend maybe interrupted 30 minutes of reading because of so many things to contend with. The problem of existence, going to look for a living, the issue of you having to look at your so many social media handle and the rest of them. Now, what is lacking is dedicated general interest reading has declined greatly, in the sense that people don't just read for the sake of empowering themselves. In days gone by, people go out of their way, whatever is their profession, whatever is their level, people go out of their way to read books, to buy books, read them, and to generally improve yourself as a person, to know about the world, to improve your vocabulary, without the issue of you reading for examination. But nowadays, the span of attention is no longer there, so people concentrate on reading for passing examination, or when somebody forces them to read. Now, you also talk about what are people reading. People are not reading worthwhile materials. Reading is happening so widely, but the materials people are reading are not even the thing they should be reading, in the sense that people read motivational texts, they read all sorts of concussions, all sorts of fake news, all sorts of things that are on the social media. Those are the things people are reading. They are not reading things that are ennobling. So if we say the reading culture has declined, we are saying the kind of reading that should be done to improve oneself and to improve the society is not being done.
Okay. Now let's get other perspectives. Let's hear from Taiwo. He's the editor, Teen Trust, our very own, editorial that deals with children and young adults. So Taiwo, could you tell us what role, does Teen Trust have to play in encouraging reading culture for children and young adults?
Thank you for the question. I must agree with Mr. Abdullahi. Not that children do not read, but they are faced with several things that seeks their attention. So, like technology innovation has also advanced reading. I mean, what people write and how they package these books into electronic format. So we have children now having smartphones and other gadgets, but then what do they read on this smartphone? So at Teen Trust, what we're trying to do differently is we're trying to bring them to that way of reading, devoid of all these distractions in form of technology, in form of, social media per se. So what we are doing at Teen Trust is just to promote that reading culture in children, understanding the fact that these children have to start reading at a very young age, so that by the time they grow older, reading will be part of them. Not reading to pass examination, as he has rightly said, but reading for fun, reading because you are just interested in reading, picking a book and reading. So unlike the World Book Day celebrated in the UK, where children are made to, we're given a book, what we are doing in Teen Trust is we are giving them newspapers. We are ensuring that students have access to newspapers. Students have newspapers in their libraries. So if you don't have it as your own, you can easily go to your library, pick a copy, and read. And what do we package in this newspaper? Teen Trust is like a newspaper by these children, for them, and purposely for them. If you agree with me, I can't say I'm an old person, but back in the 80s, in the 90s, newspapers are a standard for reading. People can pick up newspaper and work with the sentence construction, with the grammar from that newspaper. So like these days now, newspapers are not packaged the way they are packaged now. Children are not interested in it per se. So we're trying to bring the newspaper to their own level, give them what they are interested in, let them write. And as they are writing, they'll be interested in what they've written. Pick up a copy, read it, and become better. Thank you.
Okay, now let's come back to Danger. Now, it's a good thing you said a lot of people actually read, but, it's the kind of material they read, that matters. But even aside that, I've actually heard that most people, when they read, they find it difficult to actually comprehend or even understand what it is they read. And some have actually said it's because, there's a difference between reading on hard copy and also reading on soft copy. You comprehend better when you read on hard copy.
Well, it is true in the sense that hard copy allows you to read over, go back to a sentence you've read. Maybe you're interested in construction, you look at it again and enjoy it. That is what the hard copy affords you. You are seeing it and you are looking at it and you are revising it. And you are looking at a whole lot of things. It's an experience that you cannot replicate when you have something on tablet. And let me even tell you, people will tell you to do ebooks. Even as I'm talking to you now, I have a lot of ebooks that I've downloaded into my system that I've never gone back to. That's to tell you this ebook thing is just a fad.
Same here.
People don't really have the time to go back to this ebook. A book, once you grab it, because that pathway of technology that gives you access to the ebooks and the rest of them, there's a lot of things that pops up. You open it, you look at your mail, something comes to your attention, pops up, you go there, you are distracted. There is a lot of distraction, except it is guided and designed. Maybe you have an instructor on your neck telling you, what have you read today? Well, have you read a sentence, a paragraph, and test you on what you read. So the people, it is better to read the hard copy for greater understanding. But at that, even a lot of material is out there on the internet superhighway, and that helps you a lot to read. What that gives you is to get access to rare books. There are texts that you can hardly ever see except to go to that place. So the access to rare books, access to research materials. Well, we give a thumbs up for online reading. But the physical reading is still very much cherished. And the idea that the book will go out of fashion because the hard copy of a book, because we have the e-books, is just, we know now that it is not very true. They will coexist because each has a pattern, each has its advantages, and when you want to concentrate, you pick a book and go somewhere and read and get immersed in that book. When you want to do read a lot of stuff in a kind of way that is multifaceted, you go to the internet superhighway where you can read a lot of stuff at the same time. So they each have their advantages. It is just that our students, particularly if we want to revive reading, we have to go back to that. They have to be guided. They have to be instructed. There has to be a pattern to the way you read online so that you get the benefit of the huge materials that are on the cyberspace.
Adeni, let me direct this at you. I know that children like colors. They like great color separations, and they like something very fun to look at. Could you talk to us, about your readership statistics? What is it that is distinct that actually makes children want to read, the Teen Trust?
Thank you. And let me take you back again to among the reasons or among the focus of this World Book Day is to, among what people celebrate, or the UK government celebrates today, is they celebrate people that generate content for children as well. we look at people that are into illustrations, and they try to recognize them as well. So in Teen Trust, we package all these things, and then we try to present a newspaper that will be appealing to these children, that will be attractive to them, that on seeing this newspaper, you will want to pick a copy willingly, not by compulsion, not with strokes of the cane, but to create that desire to drive readership among the students. And I can gladly say that since Teen Trust started about, in 2016, we print over 50,000 copies weekly. And it's just a very, not that big, not bulky newspaper. So if you pick a copy of the paper, you can have access to what we believe children are interested in. And this is what we try to give to them so that we can drive that reading culture in them. We can motivate them to read. So our focus is from Teen Trust. We believe they can be picking Daily Trust and other books because we must have still that need, that drive to read in them.
Interesting.
All right, now coming back to Danger. Now, do you think parents are a part of the problem? Do you think parents do not do enough to promote the act of reading, in their children? Because, when they come back from school, in most cases, or they're forced to just do homework and then watch a little bit of cartoons, and and then they sleep. Yes. So the parents don't actually push for them to, inculcate that habit of reading. Do you think they're actually part of the problem?
Yeah, well, parents are not really part of the problem. Let me put it that way, because it is a battle in every home to get children to be reading. It's a big battle. Even in my own house, when there is a whole lot of library there with thousands of books on the shelves, and you pick a cane and run after your children to go get these books. It was not like that when we were growing up. In fact, talking about Teen Trust now, I remember those way back. You don't have spaces or column dedicated to children. You don't have them. But we read, because the parents set a good example. For example, now, my dad then will go to you take 1 naira or so, you buy 10 papers or 5, and you bring it home. And we are so eager for him to drop the paper so that we'll take it and read. And in the process, we get inculcated with materials that we develop our vocabulary, we sparkle our interest in reading. Today, it is a battle in most homes for children to read because there's a lot of distractions. And the parents that even buy books for children, you try to force them to read those books because the children have very interesting things they see. For example, the DSTV and all
lots of distractions.
So, yes, start times and all sort of things are distracting the children. So, and they are not. That is why, to rescue us from this problem in every home, the parents that don't have time, because I told you the problem of existence in the sense that they have to go to look for daily living. You don't have light. You have so many problems in society now that takes away your attention you pay to children. In spite of all that problem that is on ground, we have to go back to the schools. Although parents have some things to do in terms of providing reading material at home, setting a good example, making sure you say this is the reading time over 1 hour at home, you do all that. But we have to get back to the school to also where the students spend more time to design ways in which they can be made to read. Because in the school today, beyond just reading for the exams and the thing they do at classes, the general interest reading time, making sure children develop active love on books, in books. It's no longer there. Libraries are not there. If you go to most schools, you don't even find libraries. They don't even teach reading. I remember they teach us reading, how to read.
Even state libraries.
Exactly. So all those things are lacking. So we have to go back to the school system to put a lot of things right. Then we will now come back to the home. The home is the first point of socialization for the child, and therefore at home the children must be interested, must be made to love books. But I'm telling you, in each home, for example, you have homes that are what do you call it, people that are low income who don't even have a space for book. You can see the problem they will face there. Not to talk of even homes where there is middle income and high level income, where you see books all around. The children still don't cultivate this habit of reading. So there's a whole lot of problems we have on our hands.
All right. Now, some have actually said that, many of the potential markets are actually too small to publish enough books for, the Nigerian population. And that's why the reading culture is dying. How true is that?
No, I think that is not true. Because I know a lot of books people, in spite of all the problems we have in society, books are being written every day by the young, the old, and the very old, and the young, the old, and every other set, male and female. A lot of reading materials are out there, physically and electronically. So it's not really it is for us to make use of those reading materials. Imagine in a country of about 200 million people, you can hardly sell 1,000 copies of books. And children in school, look at the school population. School alone can take up a lot of reading materials, but why are they not being taken up? Because people don't bother. They don't care. Beyond textbooks that are prescribed for educational purposes, where this culture can be pepped up is general interest reading. And people are missing something. If you have a child that likes to read generally, believe you me, any other thing the child will handle in terms of text for exams will be easily tackled because you already have a broadened mind. A child that reads, whatever that child does, it must always be exceptional. He or she must be exceptional. So when we don't go back to just purely cultivating the interest in reading in children for the purpose of self-awareness and self-development, we will not get it. Even when we don't want those children to be very highly educationally attuned, they will not, because they don't. If you don't read widely, how do you tackle the multiple problems of life?
Right. Now let's quickly get Adeni on this one before we wrap up this segment. Adeni, I remember just a few days ago, some children, or rather students, visited Media Trust back in Kano for an excursion, and a lot of them talked about how interested they are in becoming journalists in the future. It seems like Teen Trust has a way of encouraging children to actually choose a career path. Is that so?
Yeah, I must agree, because, I mean, if you should pick a copy of Teen Trust, we have a page dedicated to career. So we just try to guide them on what subject or what they can do with the subject they're interested in. Personally, I never had that opportunity to choose the course I studied in school. I was just sitting there at home, and then my brother brought the jam for and said, "Feel something for me," and then I found myself in school. But we're trying to change that mentality. If you know you are good in English language, we can direct you or guide you on what you can do with that area of your strength. And then because we're a media house, we try to bring them to our office to see how this newspaper is being produced. Because if you know how a book is being published, if you know the efforts people put into the newspaper you read, there is that sense of ownership, that belongingness, that feeling, that responsibility you feel towards that newspaper, towards what you want to do. So in Teen Trust, what we're trying to do is to guide them. Of course, we love them to be journalists if they desire to be journalists, but then we try to shine light on other career as well.
Very interesting. Well, thank you so much for coming on the program. We hope to have you next time.
Thank you very much.
We've been talking to Denja Abdullahi. He is the former president, Association of Nigerian Authors, and also Adeni Taiwo, editor, Teen Trust.